Tapias, Manila Bay. We are happy again that we have for this week's session our conversations with another very important person in the 18th Congress. And at the rate I am seeing the people now here, I think we will be counting a lot of expectations on 2022. Ay! Biro lang yun, biro lang. Anyways, our guest today needs no further introduction. He's continuing President of the Red Cross. And at the 18th Congress, he will still chair the powerful Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, Senate Committee on Justice, and Committee on GOCC. And on this note, I would like to introduce to you Senator Richard Gordon. Good morning, sir. And as we do, we have our guest give his opening statement.
Good morning, Ichu. Good morning, Ichu. So great to see you here and see some of our friends. I'm not going to say old friends, but certainly our friends. And it's been, we're approaching the congressional opening, and certainly with a lot of issues at hand on the suitcase of the agenda of our country. We have to really be watchful, especially in our foreign policy, on our defense and our situation in national security. And certainly some concern on the economic competitiveness of the Philippines, particularly because of the trade war in China, and now it is filtering towards Vietnam. And we should really be trying to get into the game and try to get some of the fallout from China, which so far has gone to Vietnam and Cambodia, but not to the Philippines. So it's important that we take a look at that as well. And certainly, I look at the Philippines as an overloaded country because of our population growth. Certainly, madadarang lahat yung ating mga services like health. We have problems in health like dengue, which is really rampaging now. Forgive the word, but any deaths caused by health issues should really be watched for. And certainly, we just had the measles scenario where a lot of our people, people should look at the dashboard, because measles killed at twice the level, almost thrice the level from last year. So there you go. A lot of things have to be done. Certainly our military is being modernized, but not fast enough, I'm afraid. And if we don't have a strong military, we will be pushed around in the West Philippine Sea. That note, I'd like to say that in the West Philippine Sea, there will always be a situation where, as you can see in the last 3 or 4 decades, marami ng banggaan dun eh. It has also gone on to Japan, sabi na bangga yung mga Japanese ships. Namimiyase in China na bangga ng bangga. And I think it's about time that we also realize that we don't have to go to war kung makipagbanggaan tayo sa kanila, because no war that has been extensive has happened. And I'm not relying on that, of course. I'm just looking at history. My forte has always been history. The last major conflict that occurred in the Paracels way back in the Vietnam War, when the South Vietnamese took over the Paracels and the Chinese contested it, and about 68 Vietnamese, I think, were folks, and Chinese died, even in some ships. So sa tingin ko, I think, well, the President is a friend of mine and he has friends in China. I've never considered friendship as a barometer for national security. We have to look out for our own national interests, our own security, and nothing replaces upgrading our armed forces. We still have internal conflict with the Abu Sayyaf. I don't think it's an internal conflict, but certainly not even a separatist group, but these are bandit groups that affect the entree or the entree of goods in our country. So I've always believed that if you're going to attract investments, you have to unite the country, have stability, and not only in the field of conflict, but also in the field of economic stability, such as taxation that is predictable, power that is available readily. I read the column of Ichu kanina, and she was very concerned about the Supreme Court now being another player. And sometimes that's also a factor. I'm not saying the Supreme Court should not get involved, but certainly we need speed. The underlying thing that I'd like to tell the Filipino people at all times is, as I learned in Subic, is that speed is the name of the game. And we have never been speedy. We were slow, and so our armed forces has become all air and no force, our Navy all coast and no guard, and certainly we have not developed until the time of President Duterte, who is now modernizing. I just read that I read with envy that the Indonesia has just supplied us with 6 light cargo planes. No? Of course, these engines are made by Airbus, but nonetheless, the ability and the pride of Indonesia to be able to manufacture these planes and sell it to a country na pareho natin in Asia, or for that matter, Indonesia, which although it is farther away from the Philippines to China, has been able to arrest some fishing boats. In fact, if the research is correct, they sunk 2/3 of the fishing boats that they catch, they sink. And China, the only way China was able to retaliate was to run one of the trawlers that was being dragged in Indonesian waters by the Indonesians. They were able to get the boat, but they were not able to get the folks out there. Largely because the only way to accost an arrogant and a bullying country like China is to really stand up. You cannot just kill over and die. You cannot just say, mas malakas sila sa atin. And there are many, I'm rambling right now, but I mean, there are many incidents in history that show that countries have to show their integrity, their dignity, such as the Finns in 1938, they fought against the Russians, the Soviet Union at that time, and for a while they beat them until they had to give up the northern territories in Finland. But nonetheless, they've gotten the respect of the world. So by and large, I think I've covered the whole scenario throughout, from oil politics to our situation in our military and our requirements to generate more opportunities for our people. So far, we have relied on the OFW, the ever reliable OFW, and we're still sending them throughout the whole world. But of course, our BPOs, which I'm afraid are still BPOs in the freshman level. We still have to come up with value-added, capabilities in terms of competing in that sector, which means we have to be more creative. And finally, in terms of our education, we need to really refocus our people into making sure that we leapfrog through artificial intelligence, which I think is the name of the game now. If we don't leapfrog to artificial intelligence, we will be beaten again. As you can see, Vietnam is taking over many of the basic manufacturing na copy nila yung China model and the Korean model and the Taiwanese model. I thought we were doing that, but unfortunately, because of our high cost of power and our unstable labor, we are defeated. So really, the clarion call is for us to be united, have a common goal, make sure that our policies are firm and fair, and stand up to, So, there is plenty of land in Central Luzon that have not been taken over, and they're going to be taken over again by housing development.
You mean government lands?
No, private and public land.
Oh.
And when I look at Subic, as you know, Ichu, we've been together for a long time. I always look at Subic as Hong Kong, and Clark as Hong Kong, and then the future beckons by way of creating the new territories, Kowloon, and going to expand to Guangdong or Shenzhen. And Central Luzon is a wide expanse of land which covers a lot of educated folks, because they have a lot of universities in Pampanga and Bataan. And that is something that people would be desirous to settle into, including agriculture in Tarlac and
So parang pesa?
it's in a way, yes, they will be getting incentives, but my classmate Sara Dominguez, rightfully so, he wants to protect his turf, says
recommended dito.
Dito. Because sabi niya, marami na. But and now they are saying, rural areas tayo magbukas ng mga pendas.
So,
Well, Central Luzon isn't exactly highly urbanized except for the cities of Angeles, Cabanatuan, but the rest are still rural and agricultural.
so would you refile that bill?
Yeah, I would refine that bill and try to modulate it.
Oh.
Because one of the things that I asked there was, when you build a zone, when you build a company out there, you have to build housing as well.
Eh, dapat synchronize sa building bill.
Precisely, that was my point.
Oh.
If you build infrastructure and housing in that bill, they would have gotten a tax credit and also sovereign guarantee for domestic credit only, not for international.
Okay.
For domestic, it was unique in that sense.
Based on your investment-friendly policy na proposal, would you support trabaho bill? Because these are precisely the things that trabaho bill would like to promote.
I've always been supportive. I thought that we Filipinos must learn that when we are taxed, the only thing that we need to know is government needs taxes to be able to give all the accoutrements.
Incentives,
Yung dami natin. Yan, sobrang ako kung magkamisan dun sa mga binibigay natin, para tayong socialist country na bigay ng bigay. But we need that because we are a poor country and we're trying to stabilize our poor so that they can get better purchase on facing the economic challenges. But upon the other hand, what our people need are opportunities para may pambili sila. Pambili is the problem. Pampaaral is the problem. And so we need to provide more opportunities so that I've always said poverty is an absence of choice. Kung tayo marami binibigay sa kanilang choice, maybe they will not leave us.
Yeah, supposedly trabaho bill improve job
Yeah,
generation.
the lowering of the corporate tax and the rationalization of many things, which I think is a step in the right direction. Hindi na masyado magtatak sa mataas at mababa pa kayo.
Okay. So, dun sa concerns also West Philippine Sea, South China Sea, the President mentioned about Tokatex, quote unquote. Is that, did the President sounded you out that he will convene a LEDA or the National Security Council?
I think he will. Ayaw niya lang sinugi sa nasabihan siya.
Okay.
Because I think that's a prerogative of the President. But it's nothing wrong. We don't have to announce that we're having a National Security Council all the time. The President, I've always thought, and I always think of the other situation. The President is between a rock and a hard place. Remember, rock and a hard place. He's trying to generate investments. He's trying to generate a peaceful scenario coming out of the turbulence that the previous administration did by being overly ambitious by sending a Philippine Navy ship that had no cannons when they arrested the people at Panatag. So that created a reaction from the Chinese and at the same time misunderstanding because while that was happening and Del Rosario and the Chinese ambassador were talking, apparently Senator Trillanes was sent by President Aquino to go to China. That created conflicting signals. So nung pumayag na yung Chinese ambassador na umatras tayo pareho, apparently the signals that President Aquino was getting was umatras tayo, pag hindi umatras yung China. I always have to look at China. Pagawin mo muna sila bago tayo umatras because like in the case of the West Philippine Sea latest incident in June 9, sabi nila, we'll look into that or we'll take care of it. Because biglang nagbago because that was the statement of the ambassador which is later on overruled by the foreign policy of foreign affairs spokesman that said, hinabol kami ng mga tao eh. You know, what a silly statement coming from supposedly the second most powerful country in the world, where they have thousands of fishing boats and militia, and no, they're all militia already, and also their Coast Guard, one of the biggest, is out there. So, sasabihin, papaligiran ka ng Pilipinas. I thought that was very silly and very puerile. So, sinasabi ko lang, nagkamali tayo doon, mag-crash tayo, hindi na tayo nakabalik. So, to be able to do that, talagang you have to have clout. Because I always remember the situation in Cuba with America. Paalisin niya yung mga Russians dyan. Sasabihin lang na, sasabihin lang Amerika, sasabihin lang, sorry, not Cuba, but sasabihin lang natin, paalisin mo yung mga Chinese dyan, sasabihin lang natin, make me. In the case of Vietnam, when they tried to extricate the Vietnamese from the Paracels, they even asked the help of America. And America did not succor to them. This is the heyday of Vietnam. So sinasabi ko lang, America will go and help us in accordance with their national interests. And one of their national interests is not just protecting the Philippines, but the sea lanes. Obviously, they don't want the Philippines to become a base for other powers to come. But it will take a very, very serious situation for America to come to our succor. So what I'm trying to say is we really have to help ourselves, create our own navy, start building our own bottoms kahit na maliliit, at para sa ganun meron tayong laban. Even our fishing fleet, we should have iron or steel-hulled fishing boats. Hindi na yung dikatin.
Diba yun ang sinabi ng Presidente kagabi, he would like to talk to Congress about increasing the budget for defense.
Oh, he did talk to me about it, and I can't tell you what he did. I'll have to kill you if I did. Just a joke. But anyway, there were some requests made that I thought were quite. You can ask him if you like, but I said that was help. In terms of our defense.
Yeah, diba? You mentioned about that. Anyway, sir, yung sa sinasabi ni Presidente, paborito niyang anti-corruption niya to the point that we may resort to even impose martial law just to check corruption. As Senate Blue Ribbon Chairman, how can you help the anti-corruption project?
What we have, the Blue Ribbon Committee, and I hope you'll not consider me boastful, we have locked up a lot of people. You know, even so Argusin, and these are high officials, these are commissioners of immigration. We have also put under the heel, and they're under arrest right now, Taguba, yung nagsara ng Tara, Chinese...
How long did you have hearings on that? Tagal din, di ba?
Yung hearings?
Oo.
We have marathon hearings, as you know. But we prepare our case, and I also have a very nasty habit. When I complete my investigation, I send a copy to the Ombudsman and to the Department of Justice, and even call them, tapos na ako, tirahin niya na. Ang problema sa atin is sometimes we tend to be bureaucratic, even in the Senate. Tapos na ako sa investigation, gusto ko mag-file ng bill, pero dadaan pa ako din ang first reading.
Ano mga bills na out of that investigation?
Doon sa police, yung sa justice, yung IAS. Tulad yan, may binaril na bata. Ang gusto ko doon, 15 days lamang ang investigation nila. Ano ba naman kailangan investigation doon? And then within 15 days, may decision.
Administrative ang dapat siya, di ba? No need for this
legislation. Automatic yan pagka may binaril ng police o discharge of fire, automatic investigation and dapat may result. That is the kind of thing that I think the media should explain to the public so the public knows which door to knock on. Basta ito, pagkatao, maliit lang ako, nalapit ako dyan, di ko alam. Pero kung alam nila yung rules, they will know. And then we have the motorcycle not plate, but making sure that we curb and it's still rampaging, riding in tandem. Come on guys, let's not kid ourselves. Araw-araw may binabaril. In the previous years, 4 a day. Kaya lang, diloko ng ilang mga salbahe, hindi man lahat ng motorsiklo galit dyan, sinabi na doble plaka. Talaga naman may plaka nung araw pa motorsiklo sa harap. Pero dito, because iba na ang design, sabi namin pwedeng sticker, pero yung plaka, lalagyan ng konti para malinaw. And let me say something about that. I think you should know about this. I'm in constant communication with the LTO and they're preparing the implementing rules and regulations. Now, would you be able to see a plate number if it had 7 plates, 7 numbers and letters?
Hirap memorize yun.
Ang sabi nila nung una, 9 million motorcycles. Kaya nasabi sa akin, 18 million na puno.
All over the Philippines.
Puno, all over the Philippines. So yung sinasabi ko na overloaded tayo population. This is something. I don't quite believe it. Pero kung minsan nananakot, pero may gusto ko eh. Sabi ko, ang purpose itong bill na ito is to give people, may pag-asa ang tao Kapag may namaril, makikita nila. Pero ng laban yun, nabaril, may laban na ang komunidad whose peace have been disturbed.
Pero huwag naman 9 numbers.
Ha?
Huwag naman 9 numbers o 7 numbers.
Seven numbers. Sabi ko, 5 lang dapat. At saka gawin natin, ni kulay. Diba, Central Luzon. Lagay mo, pula. Metro Manila, blue. Lahat blue.
Parang subi.
Para subi, color-coded.
Oh.
And you can repeat the numbers once in every region. Because pag nilagay mo sa computer yan, 17 regions, pareho number,
Oh.
meron ka na, you have narrowed the search. Diba? Or even if you get 3 numbers, you can narrow the search right away to a particular color. Intindihin sana ako maigi because importante yan because that will really
Anti-crime.
Anti-crime yan. It will take a big bite out of crime. Eh kung pito yan, mahihirapan na naman ang tao at ang gagawin pa nila, 2 kulay. Eh siyempre malilito na yung tao. Pag sirahin mo red, Central Luzon, blue, Metro Manila, green, ganito. Ang dami nila sinasabi, pinag-aralan na nila na hindi makikita. You can reflectorize all of them.
Oh. So, anong final?
Well, pinag-uusapan, we wrote a letter, we're going to meet with them. I hope we're not surprised because if they do, I think there will be a lot of electronics in the Senate.
Oh. Kasi,
It's a waste of time and money.
they are just implementing the law na you crafted in the 17th Congress.
They cannot change the law as crafted by the Senate.
O implementing rules and regulations na natin tweak.
Oo, doon nila tinitweak palagi eh. Yun ang pandaya nila eh.
Eh, may oversight power naman kayo.
Of course. But why do you have to go there and waste the time of the country
Oo.
instead of filing legislation you have to investigate them?
So, they have not produced the plate yet.
Meron sila pinapakita. I think I have a copy of the plate. Ano ba yung plaka ng pinapropose ko? Ano ba? Tingnan mo.
Oh.
Simple lang yung plaka ko. Kahit na malayo ka. Hindi naman ganun kalaki pero malayo pa. Makikita mo na.
Oh, anti-crime.
Hindi naman malaki.
Deterrent.
And we get used to these killings until it bites us in our own behinds. That's the time we will complain.
Oh, yan ang complaint mo doon sa motorcycle. How about yung sa mga Tagubay, Tara, and Boston? Eh, pero I mean,
I'm glad you asked the question. Okay.
yung shabu smuggling, dati pang dumating ng multi-billion pa, more than the Taguba shabu
Let's put it this way.
Oh.
They have become, well, first and foremost, when I told the customs, babantayan ko kayo every quarter para makita ko kung tumataas ang collection. Tumaas ang collection. You can check it.
Yes.
Dramatically.
Oo.
Dramatically.
Nagkaroon na ng digital magnetic lifter naman pinag.
Ang ginagawa nila, they become more cagey in trying to come in. Una, dinaan nila doon sa ano ang tawag doon?
Magnetic lifter.
Ha?
Magnetic lifter.
Magnetic lifter, pangalawa na yun.
Yung bilog.
They had some sort of a drum na elongated.
Taguba.
Oo, parang gano'n.
Oh.
Nahuli yun.
Oo.
Pero makita mo talaga ang kapilihan. Binigyan tayo ng tip ng China. Ang sabi, escortan mo hanggang sa dulo. Hindi pa na-escortan sa dulo, pinakialaman na. So hindi umabot doon sa destination.
Controlled delivery ba na?
Oo, i-control delivery. Si Pildon at saka si Pildon, walang kinalaman doon. Ha? May kinalaman yung Estrella. Binuksan nila kagad. Eh, siyempre, hindi na inabot yung pangalawang destination where the Chinese were going to be. So, nobody is Spanish. Paano ka maniniwala kung nobody is Spanish?
Oh.
Dapat may Spanish.
Yung brains talaga.
Dito, palusot na naman sila. I got one of them to become a state witness. Sinabi sa akin kung paano. Siya pa nagturo kung paano bubutasin. You have a sheriff who is a colonel who came to see me. Pinabitan ko yan. But, nakita mo, ang sabi ni Asherto, nakakapasok siya anytime. Alright? And this is a colonel that was caught selling AK-47s to the NPA. 1,200 to the exact. What the hell is he still doing in uniform? And then the other guy, si Pajardo, was number 2 in PIDEA. And then nung hinuhuli na, sabi nila, wala dyan, wala. Pero meron talaga, doon sa second, doon sa warehouse. And we were the ones in the blue ribbon to prove. Paano wala? Nung sinaliksik namin, pumasok yung mga Chinese, pinaalis yung mga Pilipino, pagkatapos pag-alis naman, niwanan na yung lugar. Ang pagulo nila Fajardo, kunyari nagpalabas sila ng maraming squad na huhulihin yung, kunyari manghuhuli sila, pero actually ang suspense ko, they were escorting. They were escorting.
Oh, nagtadrama sila.
And proof of that is one of the people, a lieutenant by the name of, starts with a P, na biniyaran niya yung mga tao ng 250,000 binigay sa kanya. The report of the Blue Ribbon Committee is hulihin na sila. Pero kung gusto mong huli yun, makahuli mo yan. Hindi nakahuli. Tinatanong ko lang, palagi, baka magagalit sa akin yung mga pulis, mga military, I don't care anyway. Bakit hindi nyo mahuli? Pag ibang tao, sabi ko ang dami na babaril na maliliit, yung malalaki, hindi nyo nakahuli. Ito naman sabi ng barilin nyo, hulihin nyo lang. And ang kulo sa atin yung monitoring, when you look at the lifestyle of Colonel Fajardo, for example, may resort, may hotel, may mga kotse, hindi nakahuli. So, yan, that's another one. The other one, again, is yung road right of way. Grabe yun, bilyon ang ninakaw doon. Diyan nagpunta pa kami. Huli namin, tinuro mismo ng testigo. Itong babaeng ito ang tumatanggap ng pera. Tinuro yung kaibigan na nakarang administrasyon na may-ari ng restaurant. Hanggang ngayon, di pa nakahuli. We don't have the powers of the police or the NBI. We can tell them to arrest. Pero wala eh. Hindi nakahuli. So dapat, kung kayo natutulog sa pansitan, hulihin ninyo. And that's what I'd like to say. Congress can only do so much, but we are the ones conducting the investigation when it should be the military or the police kung involve yung mga tao nila, mostly the police, in arresting these people. Dapat sila mag-imbestiga. Bakit kami?
Kaya pala sabi ni Pangulo, kailangan niya martial law.
Well, yeah, to a certain extent. Martial law na nila lang yung mga police, huwag kayong tao.
Oo.
Diba?
Anyway, pakita ko na yung ano.
Well, I don't think ito ba yung bago? I think we have a bigger one than this, no? But this is the way it can shape up. Pula, background, labas yung puti.
Bakit sabi na very dangerous daw? Ano?
Hindi, yung sinasabi lang kung sa harap ilalagay.
Oh, bakit magiging dangerous siya?
Hindi naman sa harap yan eh. Sa harap talaga, wala naman naglalagay ng plaka doon sa harap, hira, no? Sa likod lang ito. Siyempre, pag pumutok, titingin ka, umaalis na, makikita mo yung plate number. Di ba? Pati yung CCTV, makikita yung plate number. Pero mas malaki dito ng konti dito.
At matatandaan mo agad dyan.
Ito mo, AB869. Kung nahihirapan sila dyan, hindi raw magkakasya lahat ng numero sa 5. Sabi ko, hindi gawin mo, Ichu 1. Papayad si Ichu ng special.
Oh, special yun.
Dick 1. Diba? Lagay mo, Steve. You can have license plate. Mas madaling basahin. Pero if the purpose is to really have them registered and arrested pagka gumawa ng crime, this is the best way.
Okay. Ito naman, papang-comment kita doon sa having a new speaker who happened to be once a colleague in the Senate. And like you, he was once a local government and cabinet member. How do you foresee a Senate relations with the Cayetano speaker? Was Peter mayor? Tagit? Mayor ba siya Tagit? Di ba? Yung asawa niya. Lani
sila.
pa rin.
Well, you know, Peter is a friend. His father was my friend.
Yeah, sa
Accra, no? Asawa kami. At saka, all those guys were running. Ang ayoko lang, bakit pinipilit nilang makialam
ang Pangulo.
ang Pangulo? That is my argument against constitutional change.
You're against the Constitution.
Kung unicameral, ano ba gusto ni Pangulo palagi? Ang Senado, merong independence dyan, no? Na hindi basta mapapakialaman ng Pangulo. So, kung unicameral, kung anong gusto ng Presidente, yun ang masusunod. And they were falling all over themselves. To say, makialam ka na. Sinasabi na ng Pangulo, di ako makikialam. What's wrong with electing? Sabi nga kay Presidente, kahit na sino naman ang manalo dyan, susunod naman sa iyo yan eh. Bakit kailangan pakita pa ng mga congressmen na naghihintay sila ng utos mo? These are people we elect as our leaders.
Yes.
Why are they reneging on the responsibility to use democracy to get the best of the best? Diba? Eh naman yan, pag nanalo, may nangangako. Nadumihan ko yung pork barrel mo, nadumihan ko yung mga project mo.
Committee
Kasama
chairman.
lahat siya, committee. Dapat hayaan na lang. Eh bakit pa sinusubo ang Pangulo? Diba?
Do you think that it will come to pass on July 22 and Cayetano will be elected speaker?
With this president, you never know. Diba? You never know. The president has become an expert in, I wouldn't call it a chameleon because it has negative connotations. Pero nagpapalit eh.
Saywar.
Saywar, magaling eh. Magpapaputok dito, magpapaputok doon, magpapaputok si Inday, magpapaputok si Paulo. Hindi mo na alam kung saan papasok. So,
Tsaka meron siya sinabi na I can only endorse. It's up to the House members to elect.
correct. So, you know, mukhang okay na. Majority floor leader si
Martin.
Speaker si Martin Romualdez.
Oo.
Magpapalit. Pero bakit? Ito ang
May
nag-aarap
term
yan.
sharing pa.
Ah,
Term sharing.
May term sharing. Ano yan? Ganun na ba ngayon? Hindi magkaganyan eh. Toss coin na lang tayo. Wala pa eleksyon.
Oo.
Lahat ng eleksyon natin, toss coin na lang para wala ng gastos. Di ba?
Not because you're against Cayetano, but that's
No.
the...
No. Definitely not.
Speaking of legislative priorities, has the President indicated he will convene anytime soon on the election?
No. I don't know. That's a very thin air. I don't breathe that thin air when they're very high up in the...
But if you are to be asked, would you prefer to talk with the President about his legislative priorities for the remaining 3 years
If
of his
the
term?
President wants to succeed, he has to tell us where he wants to take the country, why he wants his laws approved, and certainly, very few of us will contest it. Katulad, ganda naman yung sasabihin niya about defense. I'm for that.
Okay.
Masama yung defense or dagdagan naman natin ang sweldo ng mga teacher. Di ba? Pwede yan. Ako sa tingin ko, we have to define our country as the intellectual power of Asia. We have always said that before. We have the highest literacy rate in Asia. Madali tayo matuto. We speak English generally. All the information is English. So galingan natin ang education natin. Palay ko mananalo tayo din.
Okay. As the chairperson of the Blue Ribbon, Justice Committee, and GOCCs, what would the people or the public expect would be the first hearing that you will convene?
Well, ini-mini-mini mo, ang dami.
Ang dami kang makikita.
Ako pagka nag-investigate ang Department of Justice, ayoko nang pakialaman.
Okay.
Because
Let them do the
let
work.
them do it unless talagang nilutong Macau. No?
Oversight ka.
Oversight ako. That's a natural thing for the... Hindi naman porque Blue Ribbon ka, akala na powerful.
Lahat ng-
Kinukuha mo yan. I don't throw my weight around. But so far as I'm concerned, yung PhilHealth dapat gamutin yan. And I think that's important because sabi nila may mafia sa loob.
Oo.
Kahit ang maglagay ka dyan, kung di mo papalitan, i-overall yung mafia dyan, uulit yan. And then you really have to arrest some of the practitioners na talaga nagbibigay ng fake ban. Ang gusto kong gawin dyan right away, I can tell you already, I can file a bill already on that one, is that the statistics office ng ating bayan, no, should immediately, in an instant, pag may namatay in any part of the country, inform by way of information technology the veterans, the PhilHealth, para hindi mag-payment. Yun ang madalas ginagawa. Tagal na, nagpapigay pa sila ng bayan. Yun ang nangyayari.
Malapit na, papunta na sa Philippine Red Cross. Yung FDA din, equally corrupt din na tinanggal ang presidente mismo yung... Okay, so kayo naman ngayon.
I'm not ready to say that there was corruption.
What will you look into
Kanya si Presidente, biglang tatanggal. Ano ba, doon sa GSIS, Senegal, corruption. Ano ba yung corrupt na ginawa niya? Baka naman hindi lang nila nagustuhan yung ginagawa, no? And you know, the president's like that. That is privilege. Pag sinabi ng Presidente, in-appoint ka, tanggal ka, well, sunod ka.
Teka, babalik ko lang sa ano ha. Meron na naman siya tatanggalin sa customs 4 daw.
Customer talaga dapat di lang 4.
Nagkaroon na ng reshuffle, pero the problem is, it seemed to be militarized na masyado ang customs. So na yung retired general,
Di lang,
retired-
I was listening to the President last night,
Oo.
and I didn't want to comment it because we were having fun. He was singing. Sabi niya, yung military, pag sinabi mo, gagawin ka agad eh.
Without question, hindi pag-argue.
Kapag napag-usapan na gagawin mo, gagawin niya. Agree.
Yeah.
Pero, in all fairness, and I'm not trying to say I'm better, I'm more intelligent than the President. Again, I premise my statement with all due respect. I am concerned that there are too many military in his administration. Nakakatakot dyan because you could have a Thailand situation, which I hope it will never happen. But certainly, you never know if the wind suddenly blows. Anyway, the military has never been a consistent situation. As you remember, Angelo Reyes with Arab, as you remember, President Ramos kay Marcos. I don't want the military to be the arbiter of democratic change in this country. And in fairness, all of us have kids, they go to school, the military goes to school. It's becoming an elite in the sense that, and I don't mind it. I mean, we should really protect. I'm in favor. I've fought for better pension for the military. I've fought for veterans payments. But when you have, and I hope I will not be misunderstood, very clearly I will say, pag ikaw nagsundalo ka, pumasok ka sa PMA, pagpasok mo pa lang yung uniform mo libre, walang bayad yung magulang mo. May sweldo ka na kagad. Pag graduate mo, may trabaho ka na kagad. Officer ka pa ng korporasyon. Di ba? Pag retire mo, may pension ka. Pagkatapos mo, pag retire mo, lalagay kita. Dapat may interregnum siguro. Dapat wag muna kagad, pag nag-retire ka, pasok ka. And only under exceptional circumstances will you allow that to happen. Because the victim is still, civilian authority is still supreme over the military.
Clarify ko lang. So, yung sinasabi ni Presidente, kung push niya ang Chacha, specifically sa federalism, ano stand mo doon?
I'm against federalism at the moment because unang-una hindi naintindihan ng tao. Ako rin, ano bang federalism ang ilalagay nyo? And then the best example, to my mind, hindi priority sa akin yun eh. Ang priority, of course, with all due respect again, I've been in the CONCON. Everybody says it's a panacea. Pag nag-CONCON, bago na ang bayan. I never believed that. Unang-una, tumatakbo ko sa CONCON. Pagkuha mo yung karsada ko, sabihin sa'yo, which is far, far away from what you do in the Constitutional Convention. So, here, the problem with us is our economic provisions have to be changed. Have to be up to speed. I have never believed that the Constitution ay gagapusan yung economic. You have to be flexible when you are running a country in terms of the economic policies. Kailangan may flexibility, kailangan may speed, kailangan may focus, kailangan friendly and always forward-looking. If we put in the Constitution right now, hindi ka pa, nakatali tayo.
Okay.
Nakatali tayo sa development of our natural resources. Tsaka, anyway, may oversight palagi ang Congress. That's why you have to elect men who have intellectual and who have integrity para hindi mabibili.
Okay, my last question before I open it to the floor. Itong sa Eddie Garcia bill, you are also one of the chief supporters of this proposed act strengthening compliance with the occupational safety and health standards. And in relation also with the Philippine Red Cross na lagi on the scene of the accident incident. Lately, okay, Mrs. Marcos na...
Yeah. You know, if I were to open my computer, I can show you pictures every day of our some 152 ambulances. Every time they go, they take pictures of the event so we know what's going on. And soon they'll be on video. Malalagyan na namin ang camera siya. But our ambulances are always busy and we keep training and training. For example, again, I tell all the businessmen, supposing nagmamaneho ka, kaya nagda-drive-in driver mo, katulad ni Roy Navarro, is my example, at saka si Eki Cardenas.
Oh, yeah, the late Eddie Cardenas.
Bigla ka inatake, hindi marunong yung driver mo mag-CPR. O hindi siya na-train, anong pinakamalapit, ang mga drivers ko, pag nagwan, anong pinakamalapit na hospital sa atin? Doon mo itatakbo. And therefore, dapat marunong ka mag-CPR, marunong ka mag-first aid. Na dapat may first aider ka. I even have a
dapat isama niya sa
defibrillator.
curriculum eh.
Correct, meron yan. In fact, I can show you some of the kids marunong pa sa atin.
Okay.
Maliliit pa, mga grade 6, grade 7.
Kasi
They do CPR.
Okay.
So we should do it. The aim of the Red Cross is to have a first aider in every house. At least one. If you have the big one, and I'm glad, I was going to make a statement. I think I made a statement, ewan ko nilabas lang. Sabi ko, that earthquake in Ridgecrest, California, was a wake-up call. Madami na tayong wake-up call, hindi tayo nakikinig. Oh. 6 point plus yung una, tapos naging 7.2. Kung mangyari sa atin yan, kung wala tayong mga first aider, sa akin, ang rule ko, pagka may first aider ako dito sa, kay Dylan, kay Kwan, dito sa restaurant na ito, pwede ko tawagin yan because they have a card.
Volunteers.
And in the option namin, na lahat ng mga train namin ng first aider, kayo dyan sa restaurant na yan, kayo sa share, puntahan nyo na muna, bumaksak yung building dito, mag-first aid muna kayo doon habang darating yung iba. And that's important. Kailangan lahat ninyo, inmate ninyo, dapat marunong mag-first aid, baka mapaso yun, alam niya ang gagawin niya, or magkaroon siya mag-handle kung may emergencies.
Thank God, wala pang mga disaster sa Philippines, no? Pero malapit na naman ang bagyo. And I heard your multi-purpose ship naka-anchor kayo sa Subic.
Yes, I hope it will never have to sail to try and rescue people.
Pero how fast can it respond?
Mabilis siya. Mabilis siya. We have a regular crew waiting there. These are crew, mostly cadets and run by a captain from the Maritime Academy of Asia and the Pacific. It's going to go on dry dock right now because apahid ko para smooth yung takbo. But that ship is designed to react, let's say, in a major ship sinking in Manila Bay. We can pick up people on the water. And above all,
Roro din, di ba?
Roro. No, not only Roro, it lands on the beach. It can land on the beach and bring it down. It's a very expensive toy, but there was money. Ang principle ko sa Red Cross, better to have it and not use it than not to have it and not be able to do anything.
Naka-anchor kayo sa Subic. Anyways, meron mo ng phone, I will just get this away quick. Alam ko to na VFA we had in the US. We had it with other nations.
Australia.
So far.
Australia, so far.
Status
That's the
of-
forces agreement.
Other than that, walang new proposals in the
Wala na.
Senate.
I think, sabi nga ni Juan
Alam ko, Singapore nagpo-propose din sa akin eh. Hindi na tuloy.
I don't know, kasi I don't handle foreign relations and defense. No? But anyway, it would not be a bad idea to have ang sabi ko kahapon doon sa interview ko, is China trying to make us a vassal state? Historically, China feels, nung araw bago sila pinahirapan ng mga colonial powers, they were the middle kingdom. Lahat nagbabaw sa kanila, Vietnam, China,
But they don't have a history of conquering a country.
Oh yes, they do. They attack Vietnam, they attack later, no? They attack India. They even attack the skirmishes with the Russians in the Usino River ata yun. And to me, we have to make sure na we tell China, if you're our friend, don't drive us. Right now, maganda na yung policy ni President Duterte, independent foreign policy. You keep pushing us and there will be a clamor for us to create another SEATO, Southeast Asian Treaty Organization. All the countries outside the Asian mainland can band together, from Korea to Japan, to the Philippines, to Indonesia, Singapore, and possibly the aid of Australia and New Zealand. Now, take a look at what's happening. We are, para tayong Egypt dumadaan sa Suez Canal lahat yung mga barko Dito dumadaan sa West Philippine Sea, no? Pag yan nakakuha, di papayag ang Amerikano, we could be in a war. Di rin papayag yung mga Japan, di papayag yan, no? So, China should tread carefully and go back to its charm offensive. China is better as a friend, not as a bully. Don't be arrogant.
But we welcome their investments.
Well, it doesn't mean that just because hindi tayo nagkakaintindihan, hindi natin kukunin yung tourist nila o yung investment. But I would tread carefully there. I would not want 1 million Chinese working in the Philippines like the Japanese said in Davao, and then all of a sudden, pag kami nangyari, nakuha na tayo.
Have you traveled to sa Vienna kapag ng Chinese car?
Oh yeah! My children tell me all the time, everybody speaks Chinese.
Tatawid ka, parang...
My children, my grandchildren speak Chinese. So naririnig nila.
And I'm Chongsam right now. Anyway, questions on the floor. Let's start off. Okay.
Sir, nabanggit niyo yung Russia.
Russia.
Nabanggit niyo yung Russia last time. Before Russia hinikayat ang US to fight China. Ano ba ang trend ngayon, sir?
I don't remember Russia telling the US to fight China.
May tactical alliance ba between these two
Well,
countries?
the Russians and the Chinese have never really liked each other very much. They have had skirmishes there. The Russian bear has always been a threat to many people, and the Chinese now have become the Chinese panda bear.
Yeah.
Pandas are nice, but they bite.
Kasi nga, ganun ba?
Oo.
Kasi nasa glass ko siya.
Nangangagat yun.
Hindi ko alam.
Nangangagat yun.
Ang cute.
They look nice, but they're like orcas. They're nice. Same color, pero kumakain ng tao yun.
Killer whale.
Pero ang lilit ang baby nila.
Yeah.
Sir, United Nations forces, ano ba ang frequency ng pasok ng United Nations forces? Sa US na,
With all due respect, the UN is a good propaganda machine, but the Philippines has sent Filipino forces in Syria. And then General Karma, who's now in Kosovo.
Oh, yeah.
And we were hailed as a very good peacekeeping force. At one time, we were almost surrounded. But peacekeeping forces generally are an issue even with the African countries. Yung iba dyan, nagre-rape. Iba nag-uwa. So talagang dapat mag-ingat tayo dyan.
Okay, please.
Best defense is our own offense.
Okay.
Sir Johnson Marami from New Zealand. For the record lamang po.
Johnson,
Sir,
Ray.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For the record lamang po, anong take nyo dun sa naging public pronouncement or endorsement ng Pangulo sa speakership?
Why do the congressmen ask the president to intervene in their affairs? Bakit yung mga congressmen sinasabi, makialam ka na. Di ba dapat independent ng mga? There are 3 branches of government. Co-equal branches yan. Hindi naman masama, may partido naman kayo. Di within the party, sabihin nila, ang partido natin, bubutuhin ito.
PDP laban.
PDP laban. Nangyayari, hati-hati na lang tayo, the classic compromise.
Nationalista party.
Hindi magandang tingnan. Hindi magandang tingnan.
How about is term share?
Term sharing.
Again, parang compromise yan eh. Pwede ba naman yung term sharing? I would be very happy to see if the term sharing succeeds later.
Last
You know,
na
as
po.
it is, I remember President Macapagal and President Marcos agreed na one term ka lang, Marcos, one term ka lang, Macapagal, at tapos ako na. Nakalimutan lang, in politics natin is impossible.
Okay.
Last na lang po. First time ba in the history that a sitting president publicly endorsed the next speaker?
No.
As in public?
Yeah, meron naman ang i-endorse publicly. Ano yan?
Sino?
Lahat sila.
Wala mo bulong lang yung
Hindi mo
presidente.
bulong.
Ganun na rin. Mas pasawal pa yun.
Bulong lang yung nag-cobra
Hindi,
pa ng 4 na presidente.
Pagkabulong yan, ano ba ang binigay sa inyo? Yun. May envelope ba? Mabuti na yung ano. Yes. Uy!
Paulo.
Si Senador Paulo Romero.
Sao Paulo.
Sir, so what does it make of the congressmen? What are they?
Magkagawin mo na naman kami.
Because you already said that it's...
No, if I were a congressman, I would never ask the president. I would say, Mr. President, may partido tayo. Doon tayo mag-usap. Huwag naman publicly.
So what does
Because
it make?
sa akin ang education ng public is co-equal branch. Hindi pa naintindihan natin yung co-equal branch eh. Yung 3 branches of government. That is meant to fine-tune power sharing. Di ba? Pagka binibigay mo na sa presidente, tapos sabihin natin, ayaw namin ng diktador, ba't binibigay niyo
Oo
yung
nga.
speaker sa kanila? Masamang image, hindi naman gagawin ng presidente sa palagay ko. Pero pangit na sa education ng bata, ganun pala naman yun eh. Hindi naman pala truly independent.
Babalikan ka ng mga congressman. Mr. Senator, respect interparliamentary courtesy.
I respect interparliamentary courtesy, but I love them more. I want them to be protected from all these, charges that they are no longer independent. Ano masama sinasabi ko?
Sir, in effect,
Baka mas maganda pa makuha nila pagka nagpakipot sila ng kotse.
sir, in effect, they're actually admitting the process na there are somewhat some lackeys or puppets. About to say they're...
Hindi naman puppet. That's not the first time it's happened because they just want inner peace within their chamber. Huwag na tayo mag-away, bigay na lang sa akin Pangulo. The classic compromise. Pag-usapan na lang natin ito, huwag na tayo mag-away.
Ano tatay?
Okay, Pop.
Ay, Sir Lawrence, ako Radyo Pilipinas. Sir, regarding dun sa sinasabi natin na dapat i-martial law itong mga polis,
Sorry?
Lawrence, tanong ko Radyo Pilipinas. Yung regarding po sa martial law, yung mga polis, Sir, what does it say sa mga
That's
sa
a big
abig
police
ng
statement,
police?
and I hope it would not be like the statement of Bato.
Skip.
Because babalikan ko si Bato, kaibigan ko, lulukuhin ko siya. Because you're FOS.
Ano yan?
Full of shit. Pero lang yun, hindi kami magawa eh. But anyway, well, the police is a civilian unit.
Oh, yeah.
As a mayor and President Duterte was also a mayor,
Oh.
we got to respect one another. I hope he still respects me. By making sure that when a policeman goes beyond the pale, nagluko, ano? Dapat ang Pangulo o ang Mayor, disiplinado lang agad yan. Kaya ginawa ko yung pledge eh. Tinanggal ang power sa Mayor eh. Inaangal pa ngayon eh, bato yan ah. Huwag na natin ibigay sa Mayor yung mga powers sa ganyan. Hindi pwede may balancing dapat yan.
Oh.
Speaking for the Mayor.
Check and balance.
But, so far as the situation in the police force is concerned, a country loses its trust. The leaders lose its trust when you cannot control the people who are armed. Under the social contract theory, binigyan natin ng baril ng gobyerno ang police at ang armed forces. And they have tremendous power in their hands na pwede tayong hold upin yan na naka-bonnet, barilin tayo na naka-bonnet. Kaya dapat mabagsik tayo dyan. Katulad yan nangyari sa bata, automatic yan. Sige, tingnan nyo na kagad yan. Pero talo sa panado yan. Kamatay ka ng bata, para kang lasing ka, kahit na nakabaril ka ng tao, kalaban ng gobyerno. Lasing ka, yari ka. You're crossing the veil. You're going to the veil.
Sir, are we saying po na ang mga police natin is ineffective?
No, I'm not saying that. Far from it. I think there are many good policemen. But when it comes to, you have a 20-man raiding team, tatlo yung uhulihin nila. Nabaril pa yung isang master sergeant and I commiserate with his family. Pero pag kami nagpo-hostage taking, then you hold him and say, call in the SWAT team. They will know what to do. Eh, nakipagbarilan eh. Di tepok yung bata. Kung totoo yun. Kung totoo na hinawakan.
Ginawa human shield.
Pero dapat yan, investigate ka agad ng IAS. Kaya ang gusto ko sa IAS o sa police, meron tayong civilian authority, civilian police investigating agency. Walang police doon. Pag may nangyari, yung civilian ang mag-iimbestiga.
Sir, last na lang. Regarding naman sir sa health, kanina nabanggit niyo sa Red
By the way,
Cross.
that happens in Germany and in London and in Hong Kong.
Human shield.
No, meron silang civilian group, tawag doon NCBA, National, tingnan mo.
Nag-imbestiga civilian over the police.
Regarding nurse health, are you supporting Malasakit Center Bill? At least masulong ni Senator Bongo.
Anything that helps the public because I've been to the provinces.
Siya yung proponent ng mga volunteers.
Maraming tao, araw-araw people ask me for help.
Oo.
Hindi na alam kung saan pupunta. Mostly hindi na alam kung saan pupunta. PCSO, dapat automatic yan, may tutulong dyan. No? Yung DSWD, dapat may tutulong dyan. No? Even the hospitals should have their own system na mabilis. Kung di talaga kaya, katulad kami sa Red Cross, hindi kaya bumili ng dugo, akin na lang, nasabihin mo lang na indigent ka, talagang pakita mo, kumuha ka ng, meron naman kami mga social worker, hindi babayad dyan.
Pero mag-donate ka ng dugo.
Hindi, we don't even demand that. Hindi transactional na Red Cross.
Okay. Kala ko
Bigyan kita lang dugo, sumali ka sa Red Cross, we don't do that.
Okay.
Sir, so ipapahensyon niyo pa ba yung Malasakit Center Bill? May gusto kayo idagdag dun? Or maganda na yung idea na ni Senator Bongo?
Even before Senator Bongo, meron na yan. Kaya lang, magaling si Bongo, dahil kinasolidate na. At para sinabi niya, ito yung mga Malasakit centers. Para maintindihan ng tao, Bong did a good work there, right? Kasi ito ang mga mapupuntahan nyo, PCSO, ito mapupuntahan nyo. And he got identified with it, so that's good for him.
Parang may branding na.
May branding lang sila.
Thank you, sir.
Sir Mads po from the 25. Sir, follow up lang po yung sa motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yung sa plate po.
Yeah.
Ano pong update po sa IRR? And kailan niya expect?
I was in touch with the LTO and my people are in touch with them. We're supposed to sit down with them and finally, bukas, tomorrow we'll be meeting with them. Ang sabi ko, remember the law is there to protect the people. You cannot put a plate number na 7. Use your imagination.
Oh. Ito merong
Sabi nila, there
suggestion.
are only so many numbers you can do. Eh kung halimbawa, 100 million tayo lahat sa motorsiklo, di wala na tayong plaka talaga. Hanggang ganyan na yung plaka natin. That's correct.
Ito may suggestion daw how about RFID and GPS na hybrid
Yeah.
system of the plate. Optional or compulsory.
Pwede yan. Pwede yan. Kung ako, may anak, may kotse siya, lagyan mo ng GPS.
O
GPS is so common now. In fact, in the Red Cross, we have GPS in all our ambulances. So alam namin, so pinakamalapit na ambulance, puntahan mo na yan. That's why all of you should be a member of the Red Cross. You give us 1,000 pesos, and you have access to blood, and you have access to our ambulance.
Financial donation na?
Financial.
Wala
Wala naman kami nakukuha sa gobyerno na budget.
Red Cross contribution na yun.
Progress contribution.
One-time basis.
It is not transactional. A
One
year.
time.
Once a year.
Once a year.
Wala masama doon.
Okay.
Pick your favorite. Urunahin ko na si Paolo.
Sir, may sinasabi siya.
Aabo naman ni Bongo.
Naalala ko lang yung kapag.
Anong kapang?
1,000.
Ay, kapa yun. Nabubunin sa kapa. Kapa ng pera doon.
Sir, dun sa PhilHealth, you mentioned about immediately informing the PSA and maybe the other
Yeah,
agencies. Sir, how is that? Then you're talking like a system, a record keeping
Yes.
system.
Even the LTO has a computer, for Christ's sake. I mean, sorry. Sorry. The LTO has computers of all the plate numbers in the country. Pero subukan nyo tumawag. Ito, i-hold up kami. Siyam, the Red Cross can do a 24-hour system. We have an option. Ba't di nila magawa? You know, I know all my volunteers in Tondo, I know my volunteers in Cavite, and they are active. Tinawag ko, papadala ko muna ng load. Kung ba, may bagyo, dadaan dyan. Magpapadala na ako ng load sa volunteer para they can report. So, ano ba naman yan? Sinabi mo, A, B, 869, pula. Makakuha ka na ng tatlo doon, you can limit it already. Di ba?
Aya, may tanong ka, Aya?
Ayan.
Aya.
Ang ganda nung pinadala ng US government na ano,
Hindi na siya possible.
yung ambassador na
Fake news raw yun eh.
fake news yun.
Ang hindi ko may nakuha ko fake news.
Wala pa daw, wala pa kasi.
Ah, yun?
One of the
Wala pa.
issues.
Ganda mo naman ang pangalan, Mina. Talk fake news.
Minamahal ang ibig sabihin.
Anyway, nakita ko si Eric Balcos ng Pagcon. Total committee, Senate committee ka ng, Eric, magpakita ka.
Twinkle Valdez.
Anak, Twinkle Valdez.
Twinkle Valdez.
Kasi twinkle ka na, di ba sa Bangor?
Yes, sir.
Wow, twinkle lang, di ka nagsasabi ha.
Yes, sir, si Twinkle.
Share the wealth.
Dati siya nagbabalita.
Andiyan yung mga Chinese pogo, nagtatambakan din sa Chinese pogo.
Oo, ano, may pogo. Nadating na rin ang tugo.
Ay, may iniyak yung mga GOCCs, kasi particular sila. Yung kanilang bonus ba yun, Eric? Bonus na hindi binibigay ng 3 taon pa, dahil naprubahan ng Malacanang.
Bakit?
Binablock daw ni Sunny Dominguez. Mga GOCCs na ano.
Marami na kaming hindi pagkakaintindihan ni Shani kahit na magkaklase kami.
Ano klase mo?
Kadorm ko pa.
Saan? Sa
Ano
Ateneo?
yun?
High school? Hindi ka klase ka rin sa presidente?
College.
College
Si,
law.
magkaklase na sa Ateneo, sa Davao, si Digong at saka siya. Pwede ba Shani ko rin naman? He's protecting his turf, his responsibility. I wasn't trying to create more jobs. And I think
Sinusuporta ang mga trabaho din niya eh.
lahat naman sinusuportahan natin. Kaya dapat konting hinay-hinay. Basahin nilang maigi because I will give you this example. Last night at the Red Cross, pinuntahan ako ng isang malaking industrialist sa Taiwan. They need 1,000 hectares. Ito na sasabihin ko saan. Then magkaroon ng speculation. Because, kaya nga niresearch ko kagad yan eh. Alam ko na yung Vietnam na unahan tayo. Lumilipat from China to Vietnam. Eh ngayon, binabanata na rin ng Trump ang Vietnam na sa trade deficit nila. So lilipat sa atin yan kung mabilis tayo. Kung di tayo mabilis, mawawala sa atin. Kung ang focus natin ay collect taxes, dapat may focus rin tayo to collect investments. We have to do that. Cannot ignore that. Ayan. Panoorin nyo pagka may hearing ang DTI. Kaibigan ko si Mon, pero tatanong ko. Ilan ang trade attaché nyo?
Oh.
Yan trade attaché nyo, ilan ang nakuhang negosyo para sa Pilipinas? So ngayon, naganda na siya ngayon, sigurado. Kaya sabihin ko yan, sa Vietnam, pinuntahan nyo ba yung mga taga-Taiwan na nagpupunta doon? You know, the biggest investors in China before were the Taiwanese. Ang Taiwan doon nag-invest, and mura talaga yung kanilang employees.
So what's preventing,
Ngayon, lilipat siya.
what's preventing them from coming to the Philippines because of the constitutional limit? Or?
No. Isa yun, pero hindi naman masyado mabigat yan. Yung industrial parts natin, dapat mabilis tayo. Eh, tingnan pag wala kang industrial part, that's why ginagawa ko yung rich.
Ah, okay. So,
So, si Ichu Tan, pupunta sa akin, galing sa China. Ichu, what do you want? I want to put up my company. Dito ka. Saan? Doon. Umumusok, doon. Sino may ari niya? Teka, hanapin ko, kausapin ko muna. Doon pa lang delay. Ang kalaban ng Pilipino, speed. Kalaban ng Pilipino, the cost of doing business like kuryente, mataas.
but you have done the ease of doing business.
Better done than said.
Oversight mo.
Hindi naman
Saka
kasi
sa
oversight.
ayaran, isa na ano eh.
Hindi mo mapipigil eh. Dahil may mga rules tayo. We're so bureaucratic. Dapat talaga baguhin yan. We have to take a look at that. But really, ano laban mo kung ang kuryente mo mataas? Ayaw natin ng nuclear plant ng araw.
At tapos ayaw ng coal.
Ayaw nga ng coal. Ayaw natin ng incinerator. Ang China, pumunta ka lang doon, mukhang itim ka lang agad. Pagka pumunta ka doon sa tabi ng coal plant nila, lumayaman sila. Tapos ngayon, tayo sinisikil, behave kayo ha, kami mga mayayamang bansa. Tapos na kami dyan, kayo, behave kayo.
Okay, si Aya na may follow-up.
Kaya,
Si Mayor Scott, tinaguri ang Batang Maynila. Kaya naman, tinaguri ang Batang Gapo. Galing ako din sa Gapo eh. Sa SBM, nakita ko yung airport natin sa SBM. Nakita ko ngayon, nakatenga. Sayang.
Oo nga.
I'll tell you, nung bumalik ako dyan, kita ko wala lahat yung kinalbuyan eh, kinuha ng Clark yung ILS. Sa Manila, kinuha nila. Inipat-ipat dahil malis yung FedEx. Hindi naman gumalaw yung mga dati. So ngayon, I put up 500 million para mabili yan. Nabili na yan. Yung mga aeroplano ni regulation, pinili niya yung Subic na doon lalanding lahat yung kanyang mga super jets.
Oh yes.
That flies all over Asia. So it becomes the hub. Sa mga casinos, sa mga ganyan. So that will be good for us because we can repair planes, we can paint planes, we can reupholster them. That will be good for us. But we have not stopped. That's why kailangan lalakad. Pati ako, lumalakad dyan. Land in Subic. I was trying to get Air 8 had to hub out of there. Respect our country. Dapat yung mga yan sa atin, namimili sila. Pwede ba yan? Papayagan kita lumipad dito. Ayaw mo lumabas sa Subic.
Marami silang airport sa kinoconstruct, di ba? Meron pa sa Bulacan.
Correct. Unahin mo muna tapos na. That was one of the best. That was the best airport in the country.
Ano?
Subic.
Oo nga.
We were the go-to airport when I was in Subic. It was the go-to airport. Pero
bakit ang gusto
naging presidente si Gloria, kaibigan ko si Gloria, siyempre unahin niya yung tatay niya. Diyos dado makapagal international airport.
Tapos ginawa na namang, lunalig na naman ni Noy sa ano.
Ayaw nga ni Noy, pinapapalitan niyang pangalan eh. Pinapapalitan yung DMIA kaya ayaw nila eh.
Oo nga. Ngayon, ang gusto lang nila Tugade is to change din sa consortium ng gayahin daw ang Clark framework dun sa NAIA.
Ano, ginagaya Subic, sabi ni Ramos, where Subic goes, the Philippines goes.
Oo.
Hindi na umalis na yung FedEx at napalit-palit na, wala na. Yun ang problema natin. Predictability, consistency, and continuity.
And foresight.
Ayun, predictability nga eh. I have 5 F's wherever I go. Focus, hindi pakas. Fast, friendly, flexible, forward-looking. Happy ka na,
Review.
Ako po, Tribune. Sir,
Oh.
tanongin kita, may nabagit ka artificial intelligence.
AI.
AI. Yung Asian country natin, mukhang ma-overtake na naman tayo. Hindi mo ba, sir, nakikita na pwedeng i-incorporate yung bagong AI na yan sa mga curriculum or yung mga bata ngayon, marunong lang ng computer.
Millennials.
Miskin yung mga primary school. Gagaling na nila eh, bakit hindi?
You're very correct. Kaya lang, itong diferensya.
Problema sir.
We look at the math competitiveness of the Philippines.
Math and science.
Ha?
Math, science, and
Science.
Oo nga. Math and sciences. Ang ginagraduate sa atin sa math ay about 15,000 a year. Tama ba yung case? 15,000. If you look at the PICE, sayang wala kayo pa dito eh. Tingnan nyo lang yung PICE. On countries that are very good in math, in science, and reading. Walang Pilipinas doon.
Wala tayo doon.
Wala. So dapat, yung mga leaders natin, tinibigyan yan. Kaya di ba yan, kanina, I said earlier, we must be the intellectual and innovative capital of Asia. Eh, kung tinibigyan nila yan, dapat ang pera natin pupunta sa mga science high school. Ang diferensya natin, papagraduate tayo, papadala abroad, hindi naman babalik dito. Ang China bumabalik dito. Dapat may kontrata tayo. Balik ka dito, partner. Pinaaral ka eh. Hindi bumabalik. Yan ang problema. Karamihan hindi bumabalik. Sasabihin, gagalit pa sa amin. Wala naman kayo papakita sa amin. Magtiis tayo pare-pareho. Di ba? Eh, alam mo, sa Subic nga, bumalik yung mga bata sa akin, wala sweldo eh. Kaya Dennis Menjola, yan sila ang manaresa. Umpisa yan, wala sweldo yan. 3 months, sometimes 6 months, wala pa kami pera na. Pero ngayon, di ba, they're all very successful.
Any more questions before we ask our guest, Senator Richard Morgan, to do his closing remarks? Wala na? Okay. Sir, alam ko, without any prodding, we're gonna wrap up later. Okay.
Issue, I would like to thank you again personally for your kindness and asking me here and being able to explicitate on, I think, my humble positions on certain issues of the time. You know me, I will always try to give a very frank, honest, and candid assessment, and I hope I have not created offense upon the other people na nasagasaan. Hindi naman ako guilty of homicide for reckless imprudence.
Marami ka tuturuan, si Bongo, si Bato, and Tolentino.
Hindi, mahilig tayo dyan eh. I just have one hint. Yung nangyari sa West Philippine Sea, pwede ba dapat ang magsasalita lang ay yung talagang concern? Si Locsin at saka si Lorenzana. Nag-uusap tayo quite. I'm sure the President calls them in. I'm sure the President has a think tank. I suggested that. Far away from him to dictate. Pero di ba ang
Si
position...
Panelo.
Okay, mas Panelo, mas magaling siya kay Amal, di ba?
Sabi niya.
Pumaporma siya kay Amal. Hindi naman niya kamukha si
George A.
Ibigan ko si Juan. Mas magandang lalaki si Tulio.
Si Boy George.
Nasa UP pa tayo, maraming mas magandang lalaki si Tiro lang pa. But anyway, as far as I'm concerned, when you start looking at that situation, napakasimple lang eh. Pinalaki natin ang katakot-takot. Talo natin ang China eh. Actually, later on, pinikap. Binangga tayo, better binangga tayo. Meron ng kanyang kaso nun sa Olongapo. Tinira ko yung Amerikano, may nahulog sa bangin habang hinahabol ang mga Amerikano. Sabi ng mga scavenger, tinulak. Sabi ng Amerikano, hinahabol, nahulog sa bangin. Sinulatan ko sa kanila. Sabi ko, whether or not he died, whether or not he was pushed, he died while he was being chased. Dito, binanggaan nyo kami. At kung talaga doon, I'm a lawyer. Binanggaan nyo lang yung buntot eh. Surgical yung banda, yung man eh. Surgical, di naman binanda broadside eh. Binangga sa tabi. In other words, nananakot. And when you look at the evidence on site, ang daming banggaan. Binangga yung mga Pilipino ng araw, pinalis sila sa panatag, binabas tayo dun sa ayungan, yung mga beta. Bakit tayo pumapayag? Pwede tayo hindi pumayag and make noise about it, but not to say, and my apologies to the President, na baka magyera. No, I don't think so. I think we should always assert our character as a Filipino na hindi naman tayo papayag na tutulak-tulak na lang tayo because that will invite more aggression. Appeasement has always been a problem with major countries. Sa mga empires sa malalaki, they have their own sense of the international system. nila pinapakialaman kahit ano. Basta kami, in this lake, this is my lake, and in this lake, you play by my rules or you don't play at all. We have to fight that. We have to assert ourselves, don't have to throw a plane at them, but certainly we can make noise in the United Nations, we can make noise in the International Court of Justice, and the Chinese are also people like us. Pag sinabi mo, magkakaibigan tayo dati, ngayon unpopular na kayo, nasasaktan rin yan. Abangan nyo yung nangyari sa China, sa Hong Kong. So, kumasa yung mga bata ro. Palay ko may siko pang darating dyan. Pero si Lam, sinabi na hindi na mangyayari yung... And I think secretly, kung ako si Lam, sama ko yung mga protesta, ba't mababawasan yan? Remember, I was there during the handover, I was in Subic, we were all there with President Ramos. Sabi natin, is China going to go for hegemony after that? Check China. Pinabawasan lahat ang mga powers ng Hong Kong. Nababawasan araw-araw. Hanggang kinikidnap na yung mga natinda ng libro, yung mga textbook, kinikidnap, nawawala. And that's something that we must stop. Sabi nga nung araw ni President, ni Chief Justice Fernando, once a monster rears its ugly head, it must be cut off. And that is something that we must do, otherwise we create new Hitlers. I'm not saying China is a Hitler, but it is mostly people who create these savages because they are allowed to do what they want to do. On that note, I thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much po, Senator Dick Gordon. And we hope to hear from you soon, sooner or later, not later. Thank you.